What is our first main topic today?
Jonathan Phillips writes in to say, "Hey, John and crew, greetings from the UK. Hello, Governor. So, Wizards
Because
of
that's
the
how they all sound.
Would you like some fish and chips with that?" No? No?
Wow.
It's only we're in Oliver.
Where's Chris Carr? I need some dialect coaching. Sorry about that, Jonathan. I truly do love your people. So, Wizards of the Coast, the company that produces Dungeons and Dragons content, are in a bit of hot water over changes to their open games license, with hundreds of fans and designers calling to boycott the company and the upcoming movie. My question for you is, do you think this uproar has the potential to harm the movie, or will this game-based drama not sway the general movie-going non-gaming audience? Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
All right, Jonathan, thanks a lot for sending that in. And yeah, this is a really interesting kind of situation that they have going on here because, okay, the basics of the situation is this. Dungeons and Dragons has what they call an OGL, an open game license, which, imagine this. Rob, imagine if Star Trek and the company, Paramount and Star Trek, the IP, said,
What did you just bring up?
I'm the one who brought it up. Imagine if they had a policy that said, hey, you know what? If you want to create Star Trek content and sell it and all that kind of stuff and say it's connected in with our Star Trek universe, you go right ahead and do it. You go, you profit from it, go make your own thing. It's all good. Rob, because I bring that up because Rob has some experience with this, of course.
Oh.
Or imagine if DC Comics said, oh yeah, you want to write your own thing about Batman and you want to sell it? Yeah, you go ahead and do that. Yeah, go ahead. And you want us to act like it's actually part of the overall DC world? Yeah. You go do that.
That's really nice.
Nobody does that.
Oh.
No one does that.
No one does that. But Wizards of the Coast, who are owned by Hasbro, and of course, my wife for a long time was a senior person over at Hasbro, but she's not there now, so fuck them. But Wizards of the Coast, for the longest time, have had this open game license where people could literally create their own stuff and sell it. I mean, that's where Pathfinder came from, which is now one of the more popular tabletop role-playing games, right? It built on the rules of actual Dungeons & Dragons. And they've let people go and do this. And that's wonderful. Well, according to this story, what has happened now is that Wizards of the Coast has apparently kind of updated their terms and are calling it the OGL Open Game License like 1.1 or something along those lines, right? Where basically now they are making it more restrictive. And there are certain things you can do and certain things you cannot do. For instance, it says this: these third-party products, of course, products people were able to make and build around Dungeons and Dragons all they want. These third-party products were formerly protected under the original open game license, but the new system is said to be far more restrictive. In fact, Codega, that's a writer for a journalist, says that these changes will have a major focus on making creators report their published works directly to Wizards prior to releasing. Which may be more restrictive, but that's still something no other IP would ever allow their fandom to do. Mm-hmm. So this may be more restrictive than it was, but even under the more restrictive nature, it's something that no IP under any other industry would ever let people do.
And all they want to do, according to what you just said, is have them report what they're making. Just report it.
There are more restrictions. So, for instance, apparently now there is a what's the cut off the top? There's a residual that you need to pay to Wizards of the Coast.
Licensing fees,
basically, if you will, but only if the products you make earn over $750,000 a year.
That's
and then only on the amount over $750,000.
Oh my God.
So if you make $780,000, you only have to pay a royalty based on the $30,000 extra that you made.
Just make sure you make $775, baby.
Look, I am, let me just confess right here. I am not intimately knowledgeable of all the things involved with the OGL. Let me admit that right up front. I'm not intimately knowledgeable with all the things that are involved with the OGL or the open game license. But as I read through a bunch of the stories yesterday, and I read through a number of the outlets, all with their reporting of it, and I got as many details as I could in about 45 minutes. I still sat back and went, So I get it. You've had these third-party creators who've been kind of building their stuff around this. I get it. You've had a very sweet deal for a long time that no other industry ever would have let you come remotely close to doing. And again, I'm saying this as an outsider, all right? As an outsider with only a limited perspective, I now look at it and say, okay, even with these new, much stricter restrictions, you still get to do way more than any other IP would ever let you do. And again, and I'm open to being educated about this. By all means, if you guys got articles and stuff like that, and you want to send them to me so I can deepen my own understanding of this and become more educated in it, great. But I'm just saying, from the limited perspective that I've had, I'm like, I mean, I get, like, if you've had a free ride for a long time and then suddenly a bunch of that free ride is taken away, sure, that's jarring, and that's a little bit upsetting. But some people, I've read some responses online, people are acting like Wizards of the Coast is acting in some draconian, like villainous way, but it's like, you still get to do it. And by the way, one of the other things, there's a key thing in this, because people could just write whatever they want and create whatever they want. It has created some problems for this. So for instance, the new open game license, and this is coming from NME, wrote, the new open game license addresses new technologies like blockchain and NFTs and takes a strong stance against bigoted content, explicitly stating that the company may terminate any agreement you have if third-party creators publish material that is blatantly racist, sexist, homophobic, bigoted, or otherwise discriminatory, reports Gizmodo journalists.
There goes my incel wizard.
there goes Jonathan's product. But this is important because a lot of average people will see third-party created stuff and just associate it with the official game,
Sure,
with Wizards of the Coast. And if people are out there writing like some horrible shit, I'm not talking quality horrible, I mean like you're a horrible person kind of shit, that can hurt and damage the company. So again, I'm just saying from the articles that I read in under an hour yesterday, my limited understanding, but look, the question you asked was, is this going to hurt people going out to see the movie? I think 99% of people don't care. Even people like me who play the game, I don't think I wish we had Kyle Newman on today because I'm sure he would have a wonderful perspective on this. But anyway, guys, we want to thank one of the sponsors of this video, DraftKings. Guys, the NFL playoff picture is now locked in, and your go-to place for wild card round action is DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. So to kick off the road to Super Bowl 57, new customers can bet just $5 and get 200 in free bets instantly. Plus, all new and existing customers can get a no-sweat bet each day of the wild card round this weekend. Just place any NFL bet of your choice, and if it loses, you'll get a free bet back up to $10. Action so good, why bet NFL playoffs anywhere else? And if it were me, I wouldn't be betting against the Bills or the Bengals right now. So guys, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code Campea, Campea. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL and get 200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with the code Campea. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Rob, you hear about this. Do you think this is a serious thing? Do you think this is going to affect the number of people that want to go out and watch the Dungeons and Dragons movie? What do you think?
Well, here's what I guess I've always lamented this. I've been a fan, John, for decades. And I think fandom needs to have a more of an understanding of the business of what it is that we love. It costs a lot of money to create, whether it's movies, even Dungeons and Dragons. There's a large infrastructure behind it of people that have to get paid, and the copyrights and all the things that support these gaming systems. I mean, going back, Gary Gygax started this in the mid-'70s. So this is something it's approaching its 50th anniversary. And they have to protect this. And for them to have an open license the way they've had it, even what you've described, is unprecedented amongst IP. And they understand that Dungeons and Dragons is a very iterative game. When you sit down, there's a million different ways to play it. There's a million different ways fans of the system, gaming system, interact with it. So the fact that they have an open gaming license at all shows that they understand their fan base and they understand their player base, which is something that should be lauded. And that's something that I think is really honorable. But they also have to protect their IP. I mean, they have to. And to change your gaming license, I mean, everything after 700, that means somebody's making $750,000 a year on their own, making their own gaming systems that fit along with D&D. That's insane.
Now, wait a minute. Do you have to pay tax on those 700, that $750,000?
Like, well, I'm sure
you're
it's
a
like
company
any,
that makes
yeah,
that
any,
money.
any regular.
Unbelievable. Unjust.
By the way, you'd have to pay more tax on $750,000 than you would to Wizards
Yeah,
of the
the fee.
Coast for your profit that you made
If
on
anything,
that.
that saves you on taxes.
Yeah, but no, I don't think it should affect them. I mean, if they want to gin up some kind of controversy like this, okay, I get it. But I think that they should actually look at it in the other direction. Like Wizards of the Coast is protecting their beloved IP and at the same time allowing people a lot of leeway to make $750,000 a year before they're liable to give any money to Wizards of the Coast. What's not to love?
Again, I'm just trying
John,
to imagine.
can we get in the D&D business? 'Cause
I'm just trying to imagine a scenario where Marvel would say, "Oh, you want to write your own X-23 story and make a movie out of it?" And well, yeah, you go ahead. I'm just trying to imagine a scenario where that's even remotely possible. Anyway, all right. Sorry, we spent more time on this than we need to, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this OGL thing? Do you think that this little controversy, and again, maybe there's more to it than we understand. I'm sure we're doing a little bit of an oversimplification of it. I'm open. Again, this is just from the stuff I've read in the span of about an hour yesterday. But whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.